Okay, so it's lesson 2 of our architecture mini project. We're going to start designing our own work soon, but for now we're going to continue looking at the work of some existing architects. Today it's going to be Zaha Hadid. We're going to have a go at using one of her techniques to create these incredible fluid architectural designs in the upcoming video. So we're going to look at her work, we're going to produce some fluid, free sketches, and then try and see how we can take inspiration from those forms and lines that we've created randomly, effectively, to create some interesting, organic, curved architectural forms. Cheers. Okay, so this level ladder covers our basic first 2 lessons. Last lesson we were much more interested in the annotations and the way the annotations worked. Today it's more about conceptual design. So you can add annotations if you think it helps to clarify your idea, but otherwise we're really looking for the design and sketching skills that you've put across. The objectives remain the same, that you can state the names of a range of architects, you can demonstrate how their work will influence your own, and understand how architects use abstract influences and techniques to inform their design. And the main difference on the level ladder really is at the top level, your ideas are informed by the influences and techniques, but they're very clearly your own and you've taken inspiration. Whereas at the lowest point, your ideas are quite derivative. You may have directly copied the work of the designer and not necessarily taken on board or fully involved yourself in the process of producing the work. Okay, so Zaha Hadid is a British Iraqi architect, a designer and artist. She's recognised as a very key figure in the architecture of the late 20th and early 21st century. Her style is quite unorthodox for an architect in the fact that it's often described as sort of avant-garde. She will work much in the style of like a fine artist would and produce very traditional style sketches which verge on pieces of art, which she then uses to inspire her works and her architecture, which gives it this incredible fluidity and flow and sets it apart from the work of many other architects. So again, my suggestion is that you start by making a mood board of Zaha Hadid's work, and you make sure that you find images that you find particularly inspirational, and that will help you with your ideas. Here on the screen you can see some of her initial concept sketches from a sketchbook that show some things that almost seem like nonsensical scribble. What she's trying to do here is consider potential shapes and forms and look at how lines and shapes interact. The bottom right, you can see an idea developing to become much more cohesive as an actual potential shape for a building. So I'm going to start an example here. I'm going to just start off with a few free form sketches in pencil, completely with no idea of what I'm doing as I start. And then I'm going to work over with a fine pen and just try and add in some potential alterations to the form, some detail, and some shading to give it a sense of 3 dimensions and light and layering within the building. Try and start this with no preconceptions about what it's going to look like, and don't worry if you don't think it looks very good. The idea is to free yourself up to think that you can create something without worrying about what it looks like. Just to have a go and play around with the technique and see what you produce. So I hope you've been successful in experimenting with the methods of Zaha Hadid and taking inspiration from her. As you can see from my design sketches, they're not the greatest drawings I've ever done, and some of them have got a bit of a sort of Teletubby sort of land vibe going on with them. However, they are completely different from anything that I would have drawn if I were to sit down and think, right, I've got to draw a building, I've got to plan a building. And that's really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to learn through experimentation with a range of techniques. Next lesson, we're going to start some model making, so please refer to the list of items requested in the video before this. I hope that's been useful. Should have been about an hour's task with the mood board and the sketching, and I'll see you next lesson. Cheers.